The chocolate bar in your hand right now might not legally be allowed to call itself chocolate. That's not an opinion. That's the FDA. And the company that made it, they knew. They changed the label, quietly, and they were betting you wouldn't notice. Most people didn't, but some people did. And what happened next is one of the most fascinating food fights in American regulatory history. We're talking about Hershey, one of the most recognizable food brands on Earth. Founded in 1894, over 100 years of American chocolate history. And in 2008, they made a decision in a boardroom that, if you'd explained it to Milton Hershey himself, would have genuinely confused him. They removed the one ingredient that makes chocolate, chocolate. By the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what cocoa butter does in your mouth that nothing else can replicate, and the literal physics of why. You're gonna know what Kraft did to Cadbury's 180-year-old recipe after a hostile takeover that Cadbury's own CEO called a scar on the history of British business. And you're gonna know the specific legal term the FDA uses when a company strips a food of its defining ingredient, and what they're required to do about it. Let's go. Okay, so before we get into the crime, we need to understand what was stolen, because most people don't actually know what chocolate is at the molecular level. And once you do, everything about this story hits completely differently. So, chocolate starts as a cacao bean, Theobroma cacao, which, translated from Latin, literally means food of the gods. The Olmec civilization in Mesoamerica were consuming cacao as far back as 1500 BCE. The Aztecs used cacao beans as currency. These beans were so valuable, they were literally money. When you process a cacao bean, you get two things: cocoa solids, which give chocolate its color and bitter flavor compounds, and cocoa butter, which is the natural fat inside the bean. And cocoa butter is kind of miraculous. It has a melting point of between 34 and 38 degrees Celsius. Your body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, which means cocoa butter is literally engineered by nature to melt precisely at the moment it touches your tongue. That sensation, that smooth, slow, full mouth melt, that's cocoa butter. Nothing else does that. Now, the FDA understood this back in 1944. That year, they established what are called Standards of Identity for chocolate. These are legal definitions. Basically, the FDA said, if you want to call your product milk chocolate, it must contain a minimum of 10% chocolate liquor, a minimum of 3.39% milk fat, and a minimum of 12% whole milk solids. And, crucially, the fat in that product must be cocoa butter, not vegetable oil, not palm oil, not anything that was in a bottle. Cocoa butter. That was the law for 64 years. So for 6.5 decades, if you wanted to sell milk chocolate in the United States, you used cocoa butter. Full stop. Companies like Hershey built their entire manufacturing infrastructure, their supply chains, their flavor profiles, everything around cocoa butter as a non-negotiable ingredient. Milton Hershey himself established a cocoa bean buying operation and a model company town in Pennsylvania specifically to support this. The whole supply chain existed because of one ingredient. All right, pause real quick. Comment below. Do you remember when Cadbury or Hershey tasted different? More melty, richer, just better? Tell me the product and roughly when it changed for you, because that feeling is real, and I'm about to show you exactly when and why it happened. So here's what happened in 2008. Cocoa butter prices had been climbing for years, driven by supply instability in West Africa, which produces about 70% of the world's cocoa. Weather events, political instability, crop disease. Cocoa butter got expensive. And somewhere in Hershey's finance department, someone looked at the numbers and asked, what if we just didn't use it? In 2008, Hershey quietly reformulated 9 products, replacing cocoa butter with vegetable oil. Here's where the FDA stepped in. A product using vegetable oil instead of cocoa butter cannot legally be called milk chocolate. The FDA required Hershey to change those labels. They now had to read chocolate candy, or made with chocolate, or, my personal favorite, chocolatey, as in vibes of chocolate, the concept of chocolate. Now, here's the science of why this matters beyond just the label. Vegetable oil has a significantly higher melting point than body temperature. It doesn't melt on contact with your tongue the same way. Instead of that smooth, slow, full dissolve, you get a slightly waxy coating sensation. Your brain registers this. Not consciously maybe, but it does. That waxy feeling is the tell. Consumer groups caught on fast. In 2007, actually a year before Hershey did it, chocolate manufacturers had petitioned the FDA to change the standards of identity. They wanted to make it legal to substitute vegetable oil and still call it milk chocolate. The public comment period got approximately 25,000 responses. The overwhelming majority said no. People knew what they were losing. Now we cross the Atlantic, because while Hershey was having its cocoa butter crisis in America, something even more culturally devastating was happening in Britain. Cadbury. Founded in 1824 by John Cadbury, a Quaker businessman in Birmingham, England, who believed chocolate could be a healthy alternative to alcohol. The man opened his first shop as a moral mission. Then, in January 2010, Kraft Foods completed a hostile takeover of Cadbury for $19.5 billion. Cadbury's CEO called it one of the saddest days in British business history. The British public was largely opposed, but hostile takeovers don't require your consent. Within weeks of the deal closing, Kraft announced it was closing the Somerdale factory in Bristol they had explicitly promised to keep open during the takeover bid. The first betrayal took 11 days. And here's what happened to the actual chocolate. Cadbury Dairy Milk's recipe began changing after the acquisition. Consumers and food writers reported changes in texture and flavor. The bar became slightly sweeter, slightly less complex. Palm oil usage increased, and in 2016, the Fairtrade certification Cadbury had carried since 2009 was quietly dropped. Here's what I think is the most underreported part of this whole story. The FDA has something called Standards of Identity for about 300 food products: milk chocolate, yogurt, cheese, bread, ice cream. These are legal definitions of what a product must contain to carry a specific name. They are consumer protection laws. And for the past 2 decades, food industry lobbying groups have been methodically petitioning the FDA to loosen these standards, product by product, ingredient by ingredient. The mechanism is subtle but effective. Industry trade groups submit formal petitions. The public comment period is there, technically, but most consumers don't know it's happening. The FDA denied the 2007 chocolate petition, largely because 25,000 people showed up in the public comment and said no. But not every petition gets that response. Most slide through quietly. That's the legal architecture of how your food gets hollowed out. And here's the pattern that connects Hershey, Cadbury, and every single other brand in this series. Step 1. Acquire a brand whose value is built on a genuine quality ingredient. Step 2. Identify the most expensive ingredient. Step 3. Find a cheaper substitute that passes regulatory minimum standards. Step 4. Implement quietly. Step 5. Book the margin improvement. Here's the genuinely fascinating science to close on. Researchers at the University of Leeds studied chocolate melting behavior in the mouth in a 2023 study and found that the lubrication mechanism of real cocoa butter is a unique tribological process. The fat globules in cocoa butter interact with saliva in a specific way that other fats simply don't replicate. Your tongue isn't just tasting flavor, It's processing texture, melt rate, fat to saliva interaction, and temperature change simultaneously. When you change the fat, you change all of that. The memory your brain has of how chocolate should feel, that's a cocoa butter memory. So what do you actually do with this? The tells are physical. Waxy aftertaste means vegetable oil. Too sweet flavor means reduced cocoa. The label is your map. Real milk chocolate lists cocoa butter as an ingredient. If you see PGPR, polyglycerol polyricinoleate, that's an emulsifier replacing some cocoa butter. If you see palm kernel oil, that's a fat substitute. The good news, and there is good news, Kraft chocolate is experiencing a genuine renaissance. Bean-to-bar makers like Dandelion Chocolate in San Francisco, Mast Brothers in New York, and Pump Street Bakery in the UK are using single-origin cacao, traditional processing, and nothing but cocoa butter. The original vision didn't die. It just got pushed to the edges by corporations that bought the center. Episode 3 is going to make you rethink something you put on literally everything. We're talking about ketchup. Specifically, the moment Heinz swapped cane sugar for high fructose corn syrup. It sounds minor. It isn't. The science of what HFCS does differently in your body is genuinely alarming. And the political story involves corn subsidies, agricultural lobbying, and a congressional decision in the 1970s that changed the American food supply forever. If this episode genuinely changed how you're going to look at a chocolate bar, share it with someone who loves Cadbury or Hershey, because the people who need to know this most are the ones who would never think to look it up. Subscribe for episode 3. And drop a comment, real cocoa butter chocolate, or have you made peace with the vegetable oil era?